I was typing. Is a lion.
No?
You're right there, Kat.
Yeah, I'm good.
Side, yeah. Get myself in the middle open.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good.
So I'll send them over. Ready?
Yes, people. We're going to go live and direct with Addis Pablo. Make sure you come forward. Blessings to everybody passing through. And of course, we're sisters in dub. Easy.
Yeah. I still showed up my music on.
Make sure you send your fire, your energy through.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, see the fire coming.
Ooh, hot. I wish I could feel that fire, those fire emojis. Always joins.
Yeah. Sending a request. Yes, Addis, we see you. We're going to send you a request now.
How do we do that? That one, yeah?
Click it. Hey, how are you?
Yes, greetings.
Greetings. You might have to turn your phone, a little bit. So
I was
we
gonna
can
say,
look
yeah,
the
I
same
realize
way.
you have your thing sideways. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Hold on.
Got it?
Technology life, yeah?
You really enjoyed it.
Greetings, everyone.
Hold on, this thing is.
Live. So for anybody who's just joining, we are Sisters in Dub. We are an all-female sound system coming out of Coventry in the United Kingdom. And yeah, anything else you want to add, girls?
Yeah, you know what, Addis? We decided that you are the perfect person, the perfect artist to kick off our very first live with as Sisters in Dub. You inspired us so much. So you know what, we decided to speak to you and ask you a few questions. You up for that?
Of course, anytime, man. Always happy to help.
Oh, he's making me jealous. I wish I had something to burn right now.
So you know what, Addis, we thought we had to introduce ourselves. You know who I am, DJ Kat. So you two introduce yourself, let them know who you are.
So I'm Sherelle. In Sisters in Dub, I kind of help select tunes. I'm a singer as well, so I tend to do a lot of vocals and just bring the vibes.
Nice. Yeah, man, I've been watching the things, man. I've been seeing the works, so big up same way. I've been seeing the...
Hey.
I'm Daniela D, so I am one of the selectors, vinyl selector, strictly vinyl, and I also sing as well. So yeah, together we make a really good team. For real.
Like, that's what it looks like to me too. It's a great balance.
One thing we're trying to do is keep the raw, authentic sound and style of sound system, but also incorporate our all individual talents, and we incorporate music, instruments, and add an entertainment element as well. So yeah, it seems to be going really well, and we're feeling really motivated following the past few events that we've done.
Definitely. So
yep. And I've been following, as I say, because you don't know DJ Kat, we've been linking for years, and I believe I've seen you all from time, even if I haven't.
We've spoken before as well. So
so, I definitely remember over the years. Exactly, over the years, we're all connected, and it's good to see where you are now, and happy to join you, and man, full loss of thing.
Definitely. So we've all got our questions that we want to ask you. So who wants to kick it off?
Yeah.
You know what, Addis? One thing I wanted to ask you was about this crypto ras. I see that it's kicking off, it's popping off. But what made you decide, you know what, I want to be in part of this? I know you got one for your dad as well. Right. So how did that come about? How did it all happen?
The brethren from Crypto Rasta had reached out for a while, through various people also that were like mutual friends. And they were just kind of explaining the whole thing. It was a bit new, and it's still a bit new to me. And so it's a new world where it's not really, I'm not like an expert on it. I can't be like, yeah, this is the whole. So they just reached out to me. I started doing some research on my own, heard a lot of people talking about it, on the internet and all these places, asked some friends, and overall we just made the decision to join because it seems like, as we know, we're in this modern time, and that's like the new way of doing business, and not only business, but there's people interacting and social media, all these various things. So seeing a way where we're able to create a non-tangible item, I guess they would call it, which is
non-fungible token in it.
Which reflects like whether it's our art, whether music, images and whatever it may be. It's also like a new way for us to have commerce as artists, especially in this time of uncertainty with the whole performing and not being able to work as much. These platforms are great for us to use pretty much. So I'm happy that they reached out to us, and we even look forward to doing more projects with Crypto Rastas as well as on our own in NFT, field.
For real. What do you think your dad would have made of it?
I don't know. My dad was a very ahead of his time person. Like, he was one of the first people to even embrace modern technologies as an artist, musician in his time. And if you even look at his music, you realize that it was ahead of his time. So he was a person that was always forward thinking and embracing new things which are positive. So he was using keyboards, drum, all these when these things were kind of not new. At least in Jamaica, he was one of the persons like pioneering it, dub, and of course everything. So I believe he would have definitely been up for it.
Yeah, man, for real, definitely.
What you got to say? Shall I go next?
Yeah.
Okay. So my question is, what does the future of dub look like for you? Obviously, I won't say me, I'm not very young, but these two are a lot younger than me. A little bit. But, we're quite rare, so to say, I guess, amongst our age group, really into like dub and roots music. And one of our passions is to kind of encourage the next generation coming through. What do you think the future of dub looks like from your kind of perspective?
I mean, for me, the future of dub looks good because, we have ones like IDEM, of course, on that side, Europe, UK, which is a big, I don't have to explain to you, the culture and how much people live it, as in work, who are sound system men, people who are fans, people who are building boxes, so there's a whole economy and a whole culture of sound system which has been in the UK from early 50s, I'd say, early 60s, from that time of the migrants coming from the Caribbean and such places, Jamaica, and carrying the culture. So really from that time until where we are now, I believe it's going into the future forward, like the younger generations will embrace it. Maybe not everybody, say young person is into it, but there are young people like are pretty much passionate and they reach out to me all the time, they're posting things that see them. So I know that there's a lot of youths who love this music and they love the foundation, as well as they themselves are creating now and having their own sounds or being artists or producers or whatever it may be. So I think it's growing, pretty much.
Yeah, amazing. That leads me on to my question. So we've only done, is it 2 official?
Yeah, 2 free
Yeah,
gigs.
we've only played officially twice out live. And I've invited friends both times. And the friends that I've invited didn't even know the genre of dub existed or what it was, And I remember the first time I went to listen to a sound system, it was Shaka, and he was playing in Birmingham. And I didn't really know what to expect. I just knew that I liked reggae music, so I just assumed by default that I would enjoy it. But it was the first time that I want to say, when you hear music, you hear it in your ears, but when you hear a sound system, you feel it in your body, you feel it in your chest, you feel it in your heart, and the vibe is just different. It's upful, and I saw that in my friends that I invited when they came to watch us. They wanted to come again, Even one of my friends, he was like, you know what, I'm thinking about growing locks,
Yeah, man, because...
So my question is for you. What if you could choose 2 or 3 songs but to play to somebody who didn't know anything about dub music, roots music, to introduce them to the culture, what would you choose to play on a big sound system to them?
3 songs. Well, of course, we'd start off with something like King Tubby meets Rockers Uptown.
Yeah.
That's standard. That's a standard, and it's just essential dub, you know, like it's very super essential. Like when it comes to dub,
Yeah.
you cannot mention that album. So Blackboard Jungle by Lee Scratch Perry, and that's
Yeah.
that one. And really and truly, there's so many classical dubs from that era, and even up to now, where it's great dubs being made. But that's
Yeah.
2 out of 3. The third one would maybe be I just say some mix from scientists, you know, because scientists have so much crazy mixes, you know, one of them scientist mixes, you know. So any of those 3 songs, I think, would very much connect with people from various, even if you never listened to dub before, even if you're not like a reggae fan, because a lot of the fans of dub music classically aren't necessarily, some of them are overall reggae fans, but some of them just connect with dub, you know, like, just like how some people gravitate towards dancehall or ska or rocksteady or whatever it may be. There's a lot of people who just gravitate towards dub and instrumental music because, for one, for example, people from non-English speaking countries are able to listen more without having to understand the words as much.
Exactly.
You know, so it kind of relates. And if you listen to it on a sound system, as we were saying, which is the origin of this music, Jamaican sound system culture is what was the platform for artists, musicians, singers, producers to express their music and have a platform for the music to be heard and felt. So the sound system is like an essential pillar of reggae music and this culture, you know, pretty much.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for real.
Yeah.
Definitely. You know what? When it comes to the music and it comes to the authenticity, do you feel like it was dying out or it's still there? What do you think?
Well, with anything, you know, as time progresses, there's gonna be changes and shifts in the, sometimes even the narrative of what's told, what the message is, what the the people are telling the message. But what I said will remain forever is the foundation and the sounds which inspired I and I to create. So regardless of how things might get diluted or change or go in a different direction due to the people who are the new generation. Some people don't even know about this history. Like many of our fellow people our age group, as I said, are very unaware of this. So if they're entertaining it, they might not be aware of the full message of who created the purpose, the origins and the roots. So as time progresses, possibly they will learn more, but it's up to us who do know and to kind of preserve that and push it forward.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're doing as well as part of Sisters in Dub is we're as well as going out and playing sound and doing live shows, we are running a film screening series. So we're going to be showing our first one is December 12th, and we are showcasing Iration Steppers documentary. So they've got a documentary that just come out. Cool. Going through the journey of how they started and how they came to be who they are. But ahead of that, we want to showcase and screen, especially to young black youth, we want to showcase and screen classic films like Rockers, The Harder They Come, Babylon, because like you said, a lot of people might like the music and resonate with it, but to actually see those images in those films back from the time where all this music originates from, it actually builds that connection and strengthens that connection, and it gives you that purpose, and it fills in that why we do what we do. So I think it's important to also reach out to the community and teach the community, like you were saying, so they know where we're coming from and why we do and why we love what we love. So is there anything else that you sort of suggest or you sort of do or
to educate
spread the word apart from music, aside from music?
True. The best way that I've learned, most of what I've learned outside of doing research, is just by speaking to the foundation people, because you get them straight from the source, as they would say, the horse's mouth. So when you go to these musicians and you learn about the experiences, even though everybody has their own story, they could be talking about the same thing, and 10 people will say 10 different things about the same occasion, the same song, same project, same time. However, all of these opinions are part of the narrative, because they're all telling their experience through these times and creating these works and being the ones who were the forefathers, at least, and foremothers of this culture, which we are a part of. So that's really the best way, I think, connecting to these foundation people, whether it be through interviews like we're doing, or finding research that they might have done, you know, if they follow them on Facebook, Instagram, whichever way you can reach out to them, you know, because a lot of times they want to tell the story, and a lot of young people don't, even sometimes their own family don't really appreciate the history or what they did. So when they find persons who are interested, they're more than happy to share, you know.
Yeah,
We've definitely realised that, haven't we? Because we've been working with some of the older sound systems here in Coventry and Birmingham. And a few months ago, we went over to Birmingham to practice at Quaker Sound System. And he was saying that, you know, this is the first time he's really taught people. So he was actually quite happy for us to ask him questions and show him, because he'd never done that before. So yeah, I definitely agree. It's about asking and just giving them the opportunity to actually talk and share.
Correct.
Yeah.
For real. You know, Addis, when it comes to music now, I know you're a producer and you put out lots of great works, and one of your recent projects was Tunnels. And I wanted to know, what makes a great producer? How do you kind of have that good ear? Because everything you put out seems to be on point, just saying, yeah?
Well,
So
yeah,
that work?
I give thanks for that still, you know, but for me as a producer or, you know, creator, what I use is just, you know, so your ears, you also use your feelings of what you feel in terms of if you hear a song or if you meet an artist and something about them, you know, speaks to you in some way, you try to create something to reflect that. So for me, the music reflects our experience, who we are, what we go through on a day-to-day basis, because we're living in a time, the earth's always been a, you know, tumultuous place, but say in the past 20 years, 30 years of, you know, my life, I've experienced things, seen so many changes going through. So all of these moments influence, you know, the production, the sounds, what I blow as as a musician. So it all contributes. So it's really hard to say specifically, but really and truly having a love for music, understanding and appreciation for the craft, the culture, you know, the musician, the singers, the players of instruments, all these different things. And yeah, from there, it's just to create, you know, because a key part of being a producer is really being creative, you know, and finding things that are relatable, you know. So you create something many people can relate to and feel, you know. So
exactly. So I resonated with what you said when you were like, well, it's hard to actually answer that question with just in one way, because as a producer, I produce some of my own songs as well. I feel like every song, I don't like the word track, I like the word record. Feels more wholesome. Every record you produce comes about or comes into fruition in a completely different way. You might be on a journey, just a melody comes to your head and you have to get it down, or you might be in a jam session. So to answer that question, it's really hard, because creativity is so spontaneous and you can't schedule it, you can't book it in. It happens when it happens. I think that's the beauty of being in music and creating music.
That's why I asked the question.
All the inspiration really come from the Most High, because as I said, music is something where it's in the wind, you know. It's like it's in the air, it's in the creation, it's in the nature and the trees, all these different things, water, birds, bees, everything. So that flow and natural creativity of the Most High, which is reflected in nature, is what we are able to transpose, you know. It's like we receive it and then we pass it on in the form of a song, you know, rhythm, wherever, melodies, you know. So, and the talent stuff to be able to sing, to find these creations is all, you know, blessings.
Yeah,
definitely, for real.
Yeah, I think as well what you said about nature and how nature sort of inspires and provides that source of creation. It reminds me of a time when I went out on a walk and it was winter, so there were no leaves, no flowers, anything, but just a tree and the branches. And you know how it branches off, the tree just branches into small little branches. And I looked at it for a while and I stood there and I was like, you know what this looks like to me? It looks like the diagram of a human brain, you know, as the neurons and the channels of the brain branch out. It looks exactly like a brain. And that connection is just so beautiful, how the patterns of nature are recreated in all of us, you know?
Yes, because as I said, everything is reflected, you know, so what's inside is what's outside. We make up of the earth, you know, our body itself is made up of the same elements as, you know, everything else on earth. So
if you want your real creativity to come out, go into nature and start there, you know, start from the ground. And that's where you'll find it.
Because that's what life started from, you know. So all creativity, music and everything in the earlier times of life and existence, is in nature. You know, we're living in the mountains or by the sea or by whichever elements we're living by. So we naturally creating in these environments. So music in itself is born from there, you know.
Definitely agree with that.
Yeah. And I think as well with what you were saying about when Kat asked about crypto and sort of where the future of dub and stuff like that fits in, and you know, we're moving into a modern world now. Right. I feel like more and more there are more reasons for us to stay inside. They're giving us more reasons to stay inside on our computers, on our phones, on our devices. So we have to make a real conscious effort to get outside. I mean, with you living in, do you live in JA?
I'm back and forth. I'm in the States right now
because
of my story in New York, but yeah.
Especially being in the UK where it gets cold and you live in a city, it's difficult sometimes to get outside and get in nature, but it's so important, especially as a creative, because that you can easily get zapped, so you need to keep that connection and keep that divine.
Yeah, because if you even realize in places like the UK, which I've visited in New York as well, they have a lot of parks and stuff, and the reason for this is because the amount of buildings and things, they have to find some space to put some little trees, because if they don't do that, it's a total mad zone. Like, you know, when people lose a connection with nature, it creates majority of problems which we see, you know, in the market. You know? So, losing that, your mental state, your body and everything can't function how it's supposed to when you're not getting these elements, you know?
Yeah, correct. So true. So true. Yeah. Obviously, you've been doing this a long time. Your love for music, continuing your father's legacy. Sure. In all the time you've been doing music, what has been your I don't know what the best word to use. Maybe experience, or what have you seen in terms of women, females in this scene? Obviously, we're still very new. We've only played out officially twice. We've already received criticism in such a short space of time, and we know that this journey that we're on is going to come with lots of challenges. We're kind of breaking the norm, all these things. What have you witnessed in all the time that you've been doing when it comes to women, specifically in dub?
Honestly, I would say to the most part, the presence is felt more so in terms of the crowds, like, you know, as far as being involved in the music. I wouldn't say I haven't come across many, because my sister produces and so I can't include her, but even her, I've definitely seen the experience that he's talking about as far as people giving her, you know, a fight just because of the fact that she's a female in a male dominated, you know, industry and culture. But at the same time, for us, like, or for me as a person, we live is like, everybody has a mother, sister, auntie, grandma, and all these things, you know, so a girlfriend, a wife. So if you show like a negative vibe, because to me, I'm happy to see the item in it, because it's pretty much too much males, you know, like, you know,
we come to balance out and our female energy.
It's needed. The feminine energy is life, you know, so without the feminine energy, there's no life, literally. So we're happy to have the item as fans, of course, because that's great and you support and all that. But to see the item coming into the actual production or playing out or joining together as a group is very inspirational, I think, not just for myself, but for others who can say, well, it will encourage more daughters to feel like, you know what, we could do the same thing, you know, because we see these, you know, so it inspires, like I said, just for myself, seeing it from a distance and knowing the item kind of somewhat personally on a level, so it's good to see it. And as I say, I haven't come across that many, but I'm definitely happy, and I'll encourage anyone else who has the interest to pursue it, you know?
Yeah, I love that.
Good. And you know, one of our first gigs, we decided to play, well, I say we, one of the sisters decided to play the melodica, and I wanted to know what kind of inspired you to play the melodica, and how can we get more and more people to keep on that great instrument going?
You know, the melodica for me has, of course, been there from day one. That's as early as I was hearing it before I was even born, of course. You know, it's been in my life. So it's a song which is it's like a part of my life, and this is a part of me, and it reflects. It's one of the best tools for me to express myself. So upon like starting to play it and, you know, practice more and more, I just discovered the feeling which I was able to pass on to it, you know. So from then it just never stopped pretty much. But the way to get more people, I think, is just by you wouldn't say the promotion, but, you know, people getting to know it more, people getting more familiar with my father, getting more familiar with dub, myself, and the other persons who, you know, are pursuing it. And I think it will definitely catch on because I follow, you know, on Instagram you can follow like hashtags. So there's melodica people all over the world,
Yeah.
you know. So it's a culture that's there, but it's definitely gonna keep on spreading, and you know, we're just here to push it forward, you know, pretty much.
Definitely. And you know, Addis, I know we're coming to like the end of the bit and that, but you know, every time I have an artist on, you know how it goes. We've got to either ask them to do a little something for us, say a little something for Sisters in Dub. What do you reckon? Do you reckon you could do that for us?
Yeah, man, definitely can do that, man. You don't know, always have the tools close by, you know, never too far away.
That's why I asked you. I know you're always prepared.
Yeah, man, always up with the instruments, you know. But yeah, man, it's a joy, as I said, to be able to connect and for us to have this interview, you know, from there to here. It's much appreciated. Happy that we got to.
We've been sort of following you for a long time, and you know, following the works, and it's been so good to actually see you and speak to you in the, you know, on live like this. As the Sisters in Dub, we've got big plans for the next few years, big worldwide plans. So what we do with our sound is we like to invite people who play instruments, singers. So hopefully one day we can
invite you.
Yeah.
We definitely want
Whether that's in the UK or Jamaica, you know.
Preferably Jamaica.
Yeah, man, if we can make it happen in Jamaica, we're up for that money. That would be even better.
Yeah.
So we line that up in the right Iowa, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Oops, sorry. Have to set this thing so it don't drop. But definitely, I'm looking forward to that happening one of these days.
Yeah, let's do it.
And it's been a while since I've been to the UK, of course, with this, you know, whole lockdown thing. So
Yeah.
Whether it's UK, Jamaica.
Where are you currently?
I'm in Brooklyn because, you know, we have a store here. We opened a store for the past since February this year. So we're in Brooklyn.
A record store?
Yeah, a record store for Rockers International.
Nice.
Addis Pablo and everything. So.
How in sync are we with you? Because we were thinking like we could do a little singing with you, but we don't know whether it's in sync.
Well, we just have to try it out and see how it sounds. It doesn't sound so delayed to me on my side, but we'll see. I'll play a few things and we, you know, work it out.
All right. Yeah.
The thing where he's pressing it's in tune.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Can we sing harmony?
You can join, yeah?
I'll do the low one and you do that.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Red, gold and green is the color of my heart, color of my king till last I ran. Gold and green is the color of my heart. Red, gold and green is the color of my heart, color of my king till last I ran. Gold and green is the color of my heart. Red, the blood that's spilled, gold for the many, green for the land that I call my home. Red for the blood that's spilled, gold for the many, green for the land that I call my home.
Hey. That was great, you know?
I can see the collab already.
Did you have
We've got a good connection.
Wi-Fi kicking, you know?
Yeah, man, definitely.
So you record that song already? That's something you just was vibing.
We are looking. I'm looking for so I wrote this song in Germany. We're looking for the right producer to do the right track behind it.
Wink, wink.
So, yeah.
Well,
If you like it,
I think we just started it, you know? We just started the first rehearsal. So.
We can make it happen. So
For sure, man, for sure. I definitely have, because I like how it fit to the Java rhythm, and I have that rhythm, you know, as relic, so or we can choose the next rhythm, whichever way it works, you know.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll make up a vocal and drum track, and I can send them the stems over.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, Still.
Blessings, 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 and thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
We massively
definitely appreciate it. And you know what, Addis, anytime you want anything shed out, spreading, send it over to us, and we'll play it on the sets and things like that for real.
No, for sure, because even the Tunnels EP, I can send you some special mixes because it's actually going to be available tomorrow, fully digital, all the platforms and everything. It's currently on Bandcamp at the moment, but I'll definitely send you some special mixes of that and some new things on the way, some great works.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Blessings, blessings. Thank you.
Have a blessed rest of the day, yeah?
Just to
Bless
give
up. Salute.
I'm sending over those stems.
ready for that one. Ready right now. I'm in the studio already, so anytime.
Bye.
Bless.
Respect.
Safe.
Hold on. End video.
You got to end it first.